This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast. Today's discussion is President Biden proposes a $7.3 trillion budget hit for 2025. Three quick points. First, this budget is on top of a budget where in 2023 as a country, we spent about $6.3 trillion and brought in about $4.3 trillion. So the concept of a $7.3 trillion budget, to me, is complete anathema, almost malpractice. Second, if you think that I'm picking on President Biden, I'm not. I equally believe that President Trump and President Biden are horrendous at managing our country's finances. You know, it's Trump and Biden. The phrase whoremonger is inappropriate, so we won't use that. But they are certainly both debt mongers. They've never seen debt that they don't love. What I think is fascinating about Biden and Trump, and I hope I'm not offending anybody too badly, is I have this impulse control where I have never seen a golf club that I don't think is going to change my game. And it never does, of course. It's ridiculous. These guys have never seen debt that they don't fall in love with, both Trump and Biden. It's horrible for us. It's horrible for our country. As I say often, debt kills families. It kills countries. It kills companies. Horrendous behavior. This idea of a $7.3 trillion debt is just mind-boggling, or proposed budget is mind-boggling on top of the $34 trillion in debt we already have and the adding up of more debt that this will lead to. The third point I'll make is, again, I'm not comparing this to China and Russia, but when you get to the spot where totally about a quarter of your $1 trillion GDP or $28 trillion GDP is now federal spending, you may not be a communist country. You may not look like one. You may not feel like one. And there's obviously lots of positives to all the things we do from a welfare standpoint. Nobody's taking away Social Security or Medicare. But when your $1 trillion, when your budget is a federal government, this doesn't even include state and local governments, is $7.3 trillion, and the country as a whole of a GDP of about $28 trillion, that's starting to look very, very concerning to me, particularly when it's debt financed. Again, Biden proposes a 2025 budget of $7.3 trillion. Three things to know. We hope you enjoy listening to this. I don't mean to pick on Biden. I think Trump's just as bad. Text me 773-766-5322. If you're the first person to text me with the phrase $7.3 trillion debacle, I'll send you a $100 Amazon gift certificate. I will not go into debt to do it. Just like our country shouldn't be going into debt to do so many of these things. Thank you for listening to the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast.